HooHooHooRobin.
You're listening to Opie and Anthony. On the virus. Sirius XM.
Got to get our next guest in here.
Yes, indeed. Jenna.
It's Jenna Miscavige Hill.
We'll take a seat.
Hello,
Jenna.
Hi.
How are you?
We're on the air, so you know it's kind of fun.
Yeah, we just bring people in right on the air. Good.
Wow.
You might have said something.
Miscavige, we're saying the name right.
It's Miscavige, but...
Miscavige.
See, I knew. We even wrote it out phonetically and still screwed it up.
I said it properly, James.
Did you say Miscavige?
I certainly
really?
did. Yes, I certainly.
I think I said it right, too.
And, of course, your book, My Secret Life Inside Scientology and My Harrowing Escape.
Beyond Belief.
Beyond Belief. It's, wow.
Your
Now-
uncle runs the church.
Yes, that's right.
Your uncle runs the Church of Scientology. That's a
Yeah.
pretty powerful position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, where do you begin? Almost like there's so many.
Yeah.
You hear Scientology talked about so much, and it has become like this scary, ominous thing. Like, oh, you don't want Scientology coming after you. And, so, what is it about this group that makes that impression on people?
I mean, I know they're obviously very litigious, and so that's definitely a concern for a lot of people, but even, when I originally spoke out in 2008, they had me and my husband followed by PIs for like a month, and they were also having like meetings with my parents-in-law, his parents, and trying to get them to disconnect from us or silence us. So, I mean, it's understandable that people would be scared.
What are they trying to hide so much of? Because they are very secretive. There's these things. They don't want people talking about anything that happens on the inside. What is the danger of this exposure?
I mean, because it's like they want to appear as some sort of benign self-help religion, and they're not. They're an abusive and destructive organization.
Really?
What is their end game? Like, what is their goal? If that's what they are, what motivates them and what moves them?
That's a good question. I mean, it's hard to say exactly, but if I had to guess, I mean, it's all about power when you're there, I don't think that there's one person singularly who's getting like super rich out of it. I mean, my uncle, he obviously gets treated so much better than any of the other members that are there. His apartments are more luxurious or whatever, but I mean, it's not enough that I would say that it's only about that. It's not, he hasn't taken the money and ran. So I would definitely have to say that it's about power.
A power issue, yeah.
Are you worried about being sued?
No, I mean, I know that I'm telling the truth in my book, so.
When did you get in? At what age? That you remember?
Yeah, no. Well, I was born into Scientology.
Right.
But when I was 2, my parents joined the Sea organization, which is like the inner core of the church. It has its most dedicated members, and they signed billion-year contracts.
Right.
Billion-year contract.
How close are you, by the way, to fulfilling your billion-year contract?
Not close. Yeah. They live communally. It's like their clergy, they manage the rest of the Church of Scientology, and, they work like 14-hour days, 7 days a week, and they get little to no time off.
Right.
They make like $45 a week.
Wow.
The next question was, when did you
Righteous.
start realizing I don't want to be doing this anymore?
I mean,
How old are you now, about?
I'm 29.
29.
Yeah.
So how many years ago when you finally said, I don't want this?
Well, it was in 2005 when I finally left.
Right.
Yeah.
But you felt probably these feelings way before that, right?
Yeah, like...
Because my point is you were probably scared to come forward and say, you know what, I got to get out of this.
Yeah, it was definitely a process. That's just how it works, especially when it's something that you were born into it. You don't know any different. I mean, our contact with non-Scientologists was like 0.
Really?
So when you're there, you don't know what's normal, so it was just a huge process, and eventually I left. And
What was the first kind of chink in the armor for you, like that you went, ugh, wait a minute, what is this? What was the first time you remember thinking that, or when you got that bug?
Yeah. Well, I mean, from when I was 6 till I was 12, I was at this boarding school, and we only saw our parents once a week. We did heavy manual labor, 4 hours every day, and so when I was 12, so that was already crazy, but I thought that I was crazy because I wanted to see my parents. But so when I was 12, I was sent to Florida for training, but then they said, now you're in the C organization, which is the group I was talking about before. And basically from when I was 12 till I was 18, I only saw my mom twice, and I only saw my dad 4 times. Wow. And the majority of those times it was less than an hour. And so that was I at one point wanted to go back, and they wouldn't let me. I wanted to go back to California where my parents were, and they just would not allow me. And I was like,
why would your parents allow that? I mean, they were in, obviously, but
yeah.
How would they be okay with that?
That's a good question.
I know it is. But I'm kind of mad. How would they accept? I'm a father, so I can't even imagine just saying goodbye to my kids for.
You're a
father.
Yeah.
No, but I can't imagine just going, all right, you're 12. At what age you said? 12, right?
When I was 12.
So 12, just saying goodbye to your kids and basically not really seeing them, for 6 years.
Yeah, totally. I mean, yeah, I do struggle with the same thing, but my parents were also in it when they were kids, Mm-hmm. So, I mean, my mom joined the C organization with her whole family when she was 13. And so I understand, more than anyone, the basically the control they have on your mind, and that, you're basically brainwashed, and you think that, you're saving the world when you're there. You think that, you're giving up the time with your kid to make the world a better place for them.
Well, for the next billion years, too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And so, part of me is well, I don't think I would care anyways. I still couldn't do that to my kids, but at the same time, I haven't been in that position,
Mm-hmm.
And even now, I would obviously be more aware of those situations.
Yeah.
Do you have a relationship with your parents now?
Yeah, I do.
Are they still in it?
No, they left. They actually left before me.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that made it easier for you to leave.
Yeah, and they helped me to get out as well.
Hold on. So did they call you and go, all right, look, we're out.
Yeah.
We're going to get you out of this. That must have been a good day.
No, actually, no, they left when I was 16, and I left when I was 21. When I was 16, they tried to get me to leave with them, and I didn't go.
Wow.
Because I didn't really, by that time, since I was 4 years old, I'd been seeing them once a week. And, from when I was, I only saw them 2 times since I was 12. So
you had more of a bond almost with Scientology and the Scientologists than with them.
Yes, friends was everything, because family was nothing, basically.
What was their catalyst to get out?
Well, it talks a little bit about it in my book, but my mom, told me how she witnessed my uncle doing some beating staff.
Beating staff?
Yeah.
For what? For infractions, or as part of a hazing process?
No, because the guy got in trouble. Yeah. So, and just other crazy things that were going on at the time. She just said, we're getting out of here.
For the record, we beat our staff when they misbehave.
Yes. Here. We actually want to beat a few of them to death.
Yeah.
Clearly justified.
Yes. It's not too crazy to beat a staff.
Yeah, so far you've not turned me against Scientology when it comes to beating a staff. Right. I think that's something we should all do more of, actually. We could all learn from that.
Not saying it's all bad.
What is the most closely guarded or secretive aspect of it? Because for some reason, you look at Catholicism, we all know what the commandments are. There's a lot of inner workings of the church that we don't understand, but we understand what the tenets of the church are. What is the most secret part of Scientology or thing that they worry about leaking?
Well, that stuff about the aliens and the volcanoes.
I don't know what is that?
Oh, gosh.
It's the whole basis of Scientology.
Yeah, well, you don't know about that when you're in Scientology until you reach a certain level. You have to receive a certain amount of training and counseling, and it can take years, and, the public Scientologist has to pay a lot of money before they get there.
Whoa.
And, so this is, totally confidential. It's in locked rooms with, all sorts of security measures. If you have that information in a briefcase, it has to be attached to you, and you get, confessionals every 6 months to make sure you haven't told anyone.
But it did get out. It eventually
it did, from South Park.
From South Park.
Yeah, that's where I learned about it.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, when I left. And
Whoa.
yeah, and they teach you that if you find out about it beforehand, that you will like go crazy, or that you'll be like, you'll get hurt, you'll be physically injured.
Jeez.
And I remember trying to like, you know, reconcile that when I was there, like, how, if I learn about this, will my body get hurt? Like, I was like, what are the mechanics of that?
Right?
Yeah, but yeah, so that's really like what they don't.
So they didn't want that out there. So many people would go in and you're like leveling up, as they say, like a role playing game. And then you reach a point and they go, okay, look, this is how it is. As these aliens, right?
Yeah.
And they like killed a bunch of these people, and you know, you get these bad elements of those things in you, and it's cleansing you of that.
I heard a rumor, and I don't know how I don't know if it's true or not, but that when Tom Cruise found out what exactly was, I guess, whatever you want to say, the man behind the curtain, or the secret, or the great reveal, however they phrase it, that he was like a little freaked out by that. Does that happen to people?
Freaked out in a good way or a bad way?
Not a good way. Like
he was pissed off.
That's what it is. Like,
okay,
you expect Ashton Kutcher to come out and tell you.
But again, that's just, I don't know if that's true or not, but that was what I heard.
Wow.
Yeah, I heard that too, that had happened like before he sort of came back, but I have no idea if that's true.
What is the allure of the celebrity? Is it kind of a PR thing? Is it something like that? And why do you think so many celebrities are drawn to it?
Well, a lot of, excuse me, a lot of the celebrities that are there, thank you, are born into it, like Lisa Marie Presley or Juliette Lewis, Erica Christensen, Beck. Their parents were into it.
Wow.
But Scientology actually targets celebrities, and you know, they know that people are interested in the lives of celebrities, and they know that if they talk about it, that people are going to hear about Scientology, and they'll hopefully get more people in.
When you audit, like, and you do these confessionals, I have a couple of questions about leveling. What is the difference, say, between being a level 1 and a level 2? And I think it goes all the way up to, what is it, like some OS or OS 8 or something is the highest you can get, or whatever. What's the difference between like 1 level and 2, or 2 and 3?
Oh, you're talking about the OT levels.
Yeah. But let's say starting from the beginning. What is the, like, how do you know you've leveled up?
Well, in Scientology, they have like a curriculum, which I hope this isn't too confusing, but like on one side is all the training you have to do.
What? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I know that. No, and on the other side is all the counseling that you're supposed to do. And so you start at the bottom, you can't skip. And then, you know, so there's grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, then you reach clear, and then above that is the OT levels.
What does clear mean?
Clear is supposed to mean that you are free from your reactive mind, which is like your bad subconscious thing.
So they kind of walk you back, right? Don't they go through every bad memory, and they think as you go through a bad memory, it's being wiped away. It's almost like a Pac-Man thing where they look at each memory as being gobbled up and removed for a visual way. Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's actually a kind of a good explanation. Like, they think that if you view the memory in its entirety, that it will disappear.
Or that it won't hurt you anymore.
Yeah. But you have to go back to an earlier similar memory, and
this is and by the way, during all this that's going on, it's just money is being poured out of these people's pockets and into Scientology.
Right, yeah, and that's the thing. This thing about the Xenu and the aliens or whatever.
Who's Xenu?
He's like supposed to be a galactic overlord who like was trying to solve some overpopulation problem on some planet somewhere, and so
I love how you talk about it and start laughing. It's like, Jesus.
Wait, finish that thought though, and then what happened?
What happened?
Yeah, how did he solve the population problem?
I mean, I hope I have this like totally right, because I only learned about it after, and by that time I was like obviously taking it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
But and he threw people to Earth, first he like put them in some volcanoes and flooded them with some kind of pictures. I don't know how it's supposed to work.
Wait, so
there was some atom bombs used too.
Yeah,
the atom bombs.
Yeah.
So Xenu was brought into people's knowledge by L. Ron Hubbard, who was a fiction writer.
Yes.
A science fiction writer, and people now follow it.
Yes.
Okay.
Amazing.
Yeah, maybe.
But how did this all begin?
Scientology it was originally Dianetics, which is the book that he wrote, and it came out in like 1950, and it was all about.
But what was his info based on?
Well, it depends on who you ask. I mean, to him, he was like a nuclear physicist and a philosopher, but if, other people, say that he's a complete fraud and he made up the places that he got his, degree, he made up everything basically. But in his mind, he's a
science fiction writer, and now you fast forward and all these people are believing his theories.
Yeah.
So strange.
Yeah.
How that begins.
Yeah.
Our auditing sessions. Oh, sorry. Are you going to finish your thought? I mean, okay.
Oh no. Well, one other thing I was gonna say though is like the thing about the aliens. Like by the time you reach that level in Scientology, you've invested so much money, so much of your time that it's like you almost like have to believe it because it's like
it's like, oh my God, or you have to admit that you wasted all that time, energy, money, everything. You must feel like a sucker or a fool for going for it. So you're like, yeah, Xenu.
And that's why it's a big secret, because you don't want everybody to realize that you bought it too. Is that what it is?
If you walked in day one and they spelled it out for you, that door would be opening with people leaving in droves.
I just don't understand how this religion just caught on. I'm stuck on that. I'm sorry. I just don't understand it. There's new religions all the time. You hear about them in the news, but why did this one catch on? With powerful people, too.
I mean, well, with Dianetics, it had, like, bold claims. Like, we can cure all psychosomatic illness, which they said was, like, 70% of all illness. Or, we can raise your IQ. And so, at first, it was, like, a science. And so, it was self-help. So, people, came in for that, and, they started making groups and whatnot. And then, like, the FDA started coming down on them to sort of prove some of these claims. And then at that point it became a religion. I mean,
isn't that when the spiritual got introduced kind of?
Now you can't touch us.
All right, now that makes a lot more sense.
You had to come up with some kind of spiritual
they had to twist it.
Make up a story.
Exactly.
They had to twist it because
you don't have to prove a religion.
It's that faith thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Now you don't have to prove anything anymore.
Exactly.
And people are less likely to be skeptical about a religion because nobody can prove their own religion.
Right.
You can.
I got one question for you. You've been out 8 years, right? Do you believe in any religion or spirituality? Like, where's your mind at nowadays?
I mean, I'm pretty non-religious just because, like, I've spent my whole life sort of being told that, this is the way things are, and now I'm kind of like, I just believe what I can see with my own eyes.
But are you exploring other religions, or are you just, I'm done? So you're basically an atheist, I guess, huh?
I mean, I don't want to say atheist, like, because I'm, like, not, like, against all religion. Not that all atheists are or whatever, but I don't know. I'll just say that I'm non-religious. And,
gotcha.
Like, I mean, I have 2 kids, like, I've spent, like, more of my life in Scientology and some religion than I have outside of it. And so I'm not, like, looking to spend a lot more of it, like, looking into religion.
How old are your kids?
My daughter is 11 months.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. And my son is going to be 4 on Saturday.
I ask you that. Is it hard to bond with them, knowing what you went through with your parents?
No. Like, the opposite. It's
good
like,
for you.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, they're like, I don't know, like, now I can see, like, when something happens to you, it's like, oh, I'll be fine, But now that I have my own kids, it's like, how vulnerable they are and how innocent they are. And it, like, I mean, it makes your blood boil to think of these things that happen. So, I stay at home with my kids. I work hard not to make the same mistake. That's what my world is about right now.
Are you, does it affect you, that, it was pretty much wasting your youth? Do you have resentment? And
well, obviously, like,
with?
That kind of, like, sucks sometimes.
Yeah.
But I mean, what's cool about having kids is, like, I sort of get to have, like, a childhood that I didn't get to have, like, playing around, exploring. Kids, like, they really bring you out of your shell. You got to do a lot of stupid things to entertain them. And so that's
brings
pretty
you back.
awesome.
It really does.
Yeah.
And you have a good relationship with your parents, you said?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously I had some questions like, well, how was this allowed to happen? But, you know, in the end, we can't change the past. And they are really great grandparents to my kids. And
you got out of the church, Scientology around 21, you said?
Yeah.
Did you go through a wild period?
No, not really. I mean, I was like so boring because like I don't know, like normal things were like wild
could be anything,
to me.
by
Like
the way.
I watch TV, you know, like that's how.
Wow.
Like so no, I didn't. And plus, I was already married, so.
Okay. No, I didn't mean it in that way. I meant like maybe drinking, maybe start smoking pot. You know.
No, not really. Sorry, I'm boring.
Our auditing sessions where you kind of tell everything in your life, is it possible? I've always wondered, are those things documented or recorded?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, not only is the person who is the auditor writing down everything you say, it's supposed to be confidential, but whatever. But there's almost always a video camera in the room. And there's actually a story about it in my book where it talks about, you know, me saying, turn off the camera, turn it off, and trying to get, I mean, they actually, like, if you try to leave these rooms before they're done with you, they actually physically hold you in the rooms, and talks about that in my book.
Wow. So is it possible that there are people who are just, say, of celebrity status, who may, who realize that, wow, at a very weak point, I said some extraordinarily incriminating things on video?
Yes.
Maybe admitting whatever it would be, homosexuality or other things that now I don't have control of where that videotape winds up.
What are you talking about?
But you know what I'm saying? That to me is a very...
Yes, absolutely. I mean, that is highly possible.
So where would those tapes, I don't mean the exact address, but who's in charge? It's almost like when J. Edgar Hoover died. Everybody was scared to kill him before because they didn't know where his files were. So what happens to these files once these tapes are made?
Wow.
Well, I don't think that all the tapes are kept. But I mean, definitely the written down information they're stored in they're stored in folders. Like,
you don't think the tapes are kept, like not even on hard drives now, that the space would be so minimal?
Maybe not.
I bet the juicy parts. I bet some things that they could use. They probably know what's important, and you know, if Tom Cruise is talking about a dream he had back when he was 5, or he starts talking about something that maybe would be like, oh well, that'll keep him from leaving.
Yeah, I mean, I think that their like excuse for recording is that it's for, you know, they're making sure that the auditor was operating the e-meter properly.
Oh sure, yeah.
What's the e-meter?
It's the it's like sort of similar to a lie detector. And it has
the soup cans that you hold on to.
Yeah, you hold on to the cans, and it has like a dial with a needle, and it basically supposed to measure resistance, which they think comes from your mind.
I think, as a matter of fact, I think the time machine from Napoleon Dynamite had more credibility than the e-meter machine. Oh, I forgot to put in the crystals.
What kind of uncle is what kind of guy is your uncle? I mean, we hear
Bob's your uncle.
We hear so much about him, and just from your own experience, I mean, what type of a guy is he? Would you say he's a guy who genuinely believes everything and wants to make the church a certain way, or is he a ruthless guy, or is he, you know, what kind of a guy is he?
I mean, he's definitely like all of the, like, he's ruthless, but he can also be really charming. I mean, he didn't become Tom Cruise's best friend, I'm sure, by like showing his like dark side, you know, or being a jerk, you know. So he can be both. He can be very two-faced, you know. He's definitely has a lot of like force behind his words when he talks to you. So he's very much feared and also very much loved inside of the church, you know. So he can sort of switch, you know. But you know, that would be my question to him. You know, do you even really believe this anymore, or is it just about power? You know, I don't know.
I got a question that Jim Norton desperately wants to ask. Oh. Do you have a picture with Tom Cruise?
No, I've never met Tom Cruise.
Wow, that's funny.
Yeah.
Why?
You've never met him?
I was just like some like niece somewhere, you know.
Couldn't your uncle have arranged that?
Yeah, he could have, but like, I mean, we weren't like BFF, you know. We were like, I mean, me and my uncle, I actually I definitely saw him. I saw him more than I saw my own parents, but I was closer with his wife, my Aunt Shelley.
Now this is interesting too. Now your Aunt Shelley, how long were they married? Because she's not been heard from in a while, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
What exactly? What do you know about that, or what? I don't want to say it wrong. She's been missing. She just one day didn't show up for work, or?
No, I don't think that they're saying that she didn't show up for work. I think that they're saying that they haven't seen her with him in his public appearances, I guess. So, and I mean, the church is saying she's still there. I mean,
has anybody seen her publicly?
Publicly, no, but they probably haven't seen any of the other Sea Org members publicly either, because they're like guarded around, there's usually gates around these compounds and that sort of thing. So,
do you think that she is alive?
I think that she is, yes.
Okay.
I mean, I obviously have no idea, so anything I would say is just speculation, but I mean, it just sounds to me like she got into trouble and she got demoted, and, she probably has so much information and whatnot that they're sort of keeping her somewhere where she wouldn't be seen publicly, or, wouldn't really be exposed to the outside world. But I mean, not like in like a basement. I wouldn't like,
right.
I mean, but just like, at a lowly job or something like that.
Are you the biggest, or say, is it an embarrassment for them that you are out being, with the same last name, as the I guess the head of Scientology? I mean, you're not just some low-level guy that got involved at one point. I mean, you're legit, and they cannot discount you by saying, oh, she doesn't know what she's talking about. So how do they handle you? How do they deal with you?
I mean, I think that I'm just like guessing that it's probably a touchy subject for them, because, anything they kind of say bad about me, it's like I was in Scientology my whole life, It's a
reflection on them, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm like a product of that. And then on the other hand, I am, obviously my uncle's the head of the church, and so it would look bad on them to be attacking their own family, even though they don't care about family. And so I think that kind of makes me feel a little bit more safe than maybe somebody else would coming out about it.
Is it harder? Because we used to see videos like of people like being like, people, Scientologists yelling at somebody, and I don't even know if they were real Scientologists, but that's what the impression I was given, is that these were videos of Scientologists yelling at people who had left. Is it harder for that to happen in the age of the internet, where everybody kind of has a voice now? Do you think have they lost what you would see as power?
I definitely think so. I mean, yes, I think that's a huge thing, They kind of will suffer the consequences of those kind of actions.
Yeah. It's you said they're very litigious, which they are.
Yeah.
But with so many people now and so many avenues to express yourself, it doesn't seem like they can go after everyone like they used to. Because now it's anybody who has a blog can get a lot more information out there than somebody who's just shoving pamphlets under windshield wipers in the old days. So that must limit their power base also, to that threat of lawsuit. It's still there, but it doesn't seem to be as huge as it used to be.
Yeah, exactly. And now also the more people who know they're litigious, they probably are trying to be like, well, no, we're not. And so, I'm just guessing, but they don't want to prove that right by being litigious.
Suing everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Wouldn't they also, in a lawsuit, don't they also have to expose documents or whatever? Like if you say something, don't they all of a sudden become, or any group that sues you becomes vulnerable to say, if you say that say you say any group is full of shit, well then don't they have to open up and show, no, this is this, and this may be things that a group wouldn't want to reveal.
Yeah, I mean, but Scientology is so complex, people wouldn't even necessarily, there's 3 different kinds of files they have on every person, and they're this giant room with sliding ladders, and there's so many of them, it's I can just imagine someone going in there and trying to be okay, see our files, and they'll be
it's
okay,
just lost.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm sure that they wouldn't be okay, well, here's the exact file you're looking for,
But he's the guy who knows everything. Your uncle is the guy who, of all the Scientologists, is the one, but he knows more than all of them as far as what's going on and what's hidden or not hidden.
Yeah, I mean, he's the leader, so.
Do you see it over the years? Do you see Scientology getting stronger, or do you see it kind of pulling back and becoming just some kind of a little niche thing?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean,
Of course.
Sorry, I'll stop saying that. But I
She's
think
very
that,
cute.
Yes.
oh, thank you. I think that the public at large, like, definitely is more aware of Scientology than they were. I don't see people like wanting to join now because it has like a bad stigma to it, you know?
Yeah.
So I think to that degree, you know, they probably aren't getting a lot of new members, you know, but there are the people who are there who, you know, have grown up there. But again, you know, the more like I talk about, like, you know, these people, you know, are cut off. They're not allowed to have access to internet and no email, you know, one thing we could listen to when we were there was the radio, actually. But like, you know, there's no TV. I think that the church feels the need, you know, or they're cut off from their families, they feel the need to like let people meet with their families and that sort of thing. And maybe, you know, because of that, you know, somebody will hear, you know, about my book or my website.
Right.
Yeah. And like, they'll be like, oh, I knew her when I was there, or they, you know, that kind of happened to me, and just not be able to stop, like maybe reading it because it's so similar to their own experience. So I hope that, you know, something that I've done can like plant a seed somewhere, you know, or maybe when one of the Sea Org members has their like one day off, that they like, maybe their mom who never sees them has been worried about them, and she like, you know, mentions something, and I don't know.
What would you work? What kind of work would you have to do in Sea Org?
I mean, it was everything from like, there's the cooks who make food for the other Sea Org members to like, you know, when I was there, I worked in the section of the church where we had to find buildings for churches and like get them purchased and then like design them and then get the renovations executed. You know, from other, you know, there's obviously the auditors and then the people who run the classrooms. That sort of all
sounds like
stuff.
Busy work.
It is.
Just keep everyone busy.
How did they become a religion? Because doesn't that give you tax-free status, which is a huge financial advantage, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, they were given tax-exempt status by the IRS, and I mean, there's different, like, stories on how that happened. I mean, I obviously wasn't a part of that.
Right.
I remember, like, I think it was 1994 when they were announcing the war is over, we're tax-exempt, and stuff like that. And so, I mean, I remember that, but I mean, from what I've heard is that they brought a lot of lawsuits against the IRS from different Scientologists claiming that they wanted their donations to be tax exempt, and then eventually the IRS was just like, okay, well, we drop all these lawsuits but I mean,
did they? Wow, was it a rumor that they actually out litigated the IRS?
Yeah,
that is amazing, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Scary.
Now, is the like, you hear about Travolta's lawyer all the time just because he's in the news? Marty something. He's obviously a tremendous attorney. Like, the last thing you want to do is get a letter from him.
Marty.
Oh, yuck.
Oh, no, Marty's right.
Wow, would I not want to have to deal with him?
What did I say? Oh,
but
boy.
Is he a Scientologist? Or do they only use Scientologist lawyers, or do they use lawyers from outside the organization?
Oh, you know, I don't know. I know that there's some Scientologist lawyers, but I don't think they all are, but I have no idea. I'm just making up answers at this point.
Now, those high... Now, Cruz is at the highest level you can be, I guess, and so is Travolta of... they've kind of leveled up as high as possible?
I don't know where they are. I mean, the OT levels go up to OT8, and that's the top of the bridge, as they call it. And but I mean, what
do you get if you're an OT8?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Can you ride on the spaceship? Or
there's some other thing about that, like another theory like that, like. But I don't know exactly what it is. I don't remember. I never got there.
I bet you no one gets
never
OT8.
got there.
They do, actually.
They do.
Like, yeah.
And then there's a new expansion pack coming out in
of course,
spring.
Yeah, exactly.
How do people know you're OT8? Do you have something that indicates that, or do you just squeeze it in a conversation, or how do they know?
A wink, secret handshake.
Yeah, you get a medallion.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like, well, actually, to learn about OT8, you have to go to the ship that they have, the free
What's
ones.
that?
They like actually have like a cruise ship, the free ones, and that's the only place where you can learn about that.
Can you do the Macarena on the cruise ship?
Is it a fun cruise?
Is it fun, or is it all like a drag?
I think it's like both. Like I went there once when I was little, But I mean, we were just taking a tour. We learned how to tie knots.
How long are you on the ship for when you're becoming from OT7 to OT8? Is it like a 1 week course or is it 6 months?
I don't know because I never did it. I mean, I know that my grandma was OT8.
Whoa.
And, but yeah, on OT7, you have to do that one in Florida, in Clearwater. So, yeah, and I think that's like the longest one. That's when you actually, yeah. Well, and OT7, you actually like audit yourself. Like you hold your own cans and you like operate the
Wow, sounds like a great website description.
And you write everything down and you like actually like ask yourself questions and like answer them to yourself, but you like do it in your head, like you don't.
Yeah.
Wait, so you just basically, there's a video of you holding cans and they go, congratulations, you made. How do you screw that up?
Congratulations, you made it.
You dropped the cans a bunch of times.
Yeah. I got every answer right.
Yeah, how does that, how do you start that and then screw it up?
I mean, you get like, even though you're auditing yourself, you get like, you have to do the 6-month check, which is the confessional. You get that from someone else. And so you have, and like when you're there, I mean, you believe that, you know, if you're dishonest, you cannot make progress. You'll never, you know, get to where you're going. It will be, you know, it will hold you back. And so you are like really forthcoming when you're there.
What is, every religion obviously is based on some kind of afterlife. What is their take on what happens to you after your demise?
Are you asking me or Johnny?
Jim.
Okay.
No.
Well, they believe that in Scientology, you know, well, they don't have a god and they don't worship anything, but they believe that you're a spiritual being they call Thetans, and then you basically, you live lifetime after lifetime. So when your body dies, you pick up another body.
So it's kind of a reincarnation thing.
Yeah.
But is it all earthly, or can you be reincarnated on some faraway land?
Faraway land.
Really?
Yeah.
Like the Shire? I want to go to the Shire. I'll be a hobbit.
And they said that you drop your body, because I've only got through a little bit of your book because we got it last night, but it said LRH drops his body or whatever. Is that what they call it?
Yes, that's exactly what they call it. Yeah.
They don't say you're dying.
Oh,
no.
Really?
Yeah.
My body's dropping in April, yo.
Could someone take Tom Cruise's body after he drops
Yeah,
his?
exactly. What if that'd be a very popular one to go
Be an
after.
action star.
Yeah. No.
What about
no.
the gay rumors with Tom Cruise?
What?
I don't know about that.
Yeah,
the rumors.
exactly. That's what I would say.
See, she's still scared.
No, I honestly don't know.
Called being
you know
smart.
what? They are rumors. I mean,
They are just rumors,
Andrew Morton,
right?
we interviewed, and he wrote the quote-unquote tell-all about Tom Cruise.
Right.
And they didn't go after him. But he came to the conclusion, which, again, it may have been the right conclusion, that Cruise was not gay, that he was straight. And I always wondered, like, I don't think they were going to go for anybody writing an unauthorized biography, but I was wondering if they were very happy with his conclusion, so it kind of allowed the fact that he wrote an unauthorized, almost like, hey, look, an unauthorized biography said this, so why would we go after the guy for that?
Yeah.
Maybe some trickery.
Or
his part.
or maybe maybe he's really not. Like, that's gotta be annoying if you're not gay and everybody's asking you. That would really. It's bugged me a few times. I've had a few indiscretions. Well, they're telling us that Jenna has to go because you have other press. But the book is called Beyond Belief. I'm only 2 chapters in, and I'm literally reading it as I walk to the bathroom. It's unbelievably interesting to look into this world that we hear about.
Yeah. And from a genuine insider. That's very cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenna.
Thanks, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Tell him, Fred.
The Virus. Sirius XM. This is the Opie and Anthony Show.